all your faces are back here again. I'm going to take you through what I call Blink. Blink is a ROM tool, an ROM tool. Okay, it's going to teach you how to problem solve, how to find solutions. It's an analysis tool. You can use it while you're at school, and you can use it when you get into the workforce. You can use it when you come up with your new innovations, with your new ways of thinking. ROM is result-orientated matrix. So it's a ROM tool. I want to take you through, and each letter, Blink, that's why the last C, I couldn't find one that's with K. Blink is a tool I use every single day. Except when I do seminars. And I'll tell you about the first one. Blink stands for Be Brief. Be logical. And I'm not talking about critical logic, I'm talking about creative logic. Some of the greatest minds in the world, some of the most influential people around the world, both past, present, and in the future, will use creativity as their form of logic. Understand your intent. What is it that you are trying to tell us? What is the intent? What's the intention? It's very important to make sure that we understand the big thing, why. Always start with why. Not how, and not what. All the companies that are around there, except for a few, like Apple, all the companies start with what they do. We do this, and this is how we do it. But they forget why. But Apple didn't. Apple turned around and said why they do what they do. And people followed, people believed. People said, yes, this is why I want Apple. I want it to be the same thing. Does anybody here own an Apple iPod or an Apple computer or an Apple device of any sort whatsoever? Anyone? Does anybody here know someone that owns an Apple device? Yes?
So
What device do they own?
Apple device uses 7nm micrometer processor.
Wow! Now that's how?
And Android device uses, the best Android device till now is Samsung Galaxy S10, and it uses 9nm micrometer processor, and what Apple iPhone 6 processor is of 7nm.
Now I'm going to tell you something. What he just said went straight over the top of my head. Thank you very much, brother. Please take a seat. It went right over the top of my head, but I understood. Now that's what and that's how. But why does Apple do what it does? What was the big key about Apple? Why did it become so popular? I want you to think about it. Apple turned around and said, we want to create devices that will change the way people do things, the way you listen to music, the way you search information, the way that individuals get connected. That's what Apple wanted to do. That was why, and that's where they started. And they did it briefly. They did it so briefly that people wanted to learn more. And the only way they could learn more was to go out and use the devices. Now, anybody that owns an Apple computer will tell you that it's slow. Everything's built in. If you want anything more, you've actually got to get it and plug it into it. That's the way Apple computers were built. That's the way Apple computers were made. That was the what and the how. But people bought the why. People bought the why of Apple. When you guys go out and do your thing, I want you to think about the why and tell the rest of the world be brief. Work on your logical way of telling you. Use creative logic. Understand the intent. What are you really trying to do? That looks at the what and the how. Being narrative, to narrate. Does anybody know what the word narrate means? Narrate means to tell a story. Seek clarity. And together, all of these are blink. It is something that you do some 1,000 times a day. Not wink, but blink. When you're brief, you will look at the before. Compare it to the now and create a future. That's what you will do if you're brief. If you rabbit on and on and on like I do, I have to in my job. I have to say the same thing so many different ways so people can understand. But you, as the leaders of tomorrow, need to be brief. You need to look at the past, the way things were. Have a look at the way things are now. Not just in society, but in business and in politics and in religion. The whole works. Look at it all. Don't just look at one thing. When you know what was, when you know what is, you will know what the future needs. So be brief. I want you to use logic to sift out. Now that's where my critical people come in. My critical leaders. this is where you come into it. You've got to use your logic to control my creative people. The creative people are going to come up with wonderful, weird, really strange ideas. I love surfing the internet. I love looking at some of the really crazy, strange inventions that some people come up with. And I think to myself, where were my critical people when these creative people came up with these weird tools, these weird things? But because of those crazy, weird, wonderful inventions that the creative people come up with, the critical mind stepped in and made useful tools out of those creative ideas. Logic is absolutely essential. It uses what is known as a systematic procedural methodology. If 1 + 1 equals 2, if that is true, then I wonder what 24,867,332 plus 967,732,765. Can anybody do that mathematical equation? Wow, I got no maths geniuses here. It's all right, neither can I. Procedure is absolutely essential. A lot of companies will tell you, a lot of your bosses, when you get out there in the workforce, a lot of them will say, the policy is all important. But I'm telling you today, if you follow the procedure step by step, the policy won't matter. Because you'll always be within the policy's guidelines. Always. Because you follow procedure. You follow steps. Don't skip steps. When you skip steps, you could lose your way, ending up like my creative people, thinking of weird and wonderful inventions that really don't help society at all. Then the logical people, the critical logical people come in and they've got to turn those inventions into something that society can use. When it comes to standards, you've got to ask the first question. And that first question is very, very simple. Did the process work in the past? Very simple. Did it work before? Did the mathematical equation work the first time? If not, why not? Always go back to why. Why did it work? Or why not? Why did it not work? Where were the mistakes? Where were the deviations? Deviations are caused by habit, not by mistakes. A mistake is caused because at the time there is something different, something unusual that's not there or is there that causes the mistake to happen. So mistakes aren't bad. It's a mistake now, but tomorrow it might work, or next year, or the year after. You might just be ahead of your time. That's all that is. It's when you start forming bad habits. 1 and 1 equals 3. And if you keep making the same habit, the same mistake, 1 and 1 equals 3. 1 and 1 equals 3. It becomes a habit. So when you do calculation, you start looking for 1 plus 1 equals 3. And that becomes the deviation. And you can't find it because it makes no logical sense. Mistakes are okay. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we put our t-shirts on inside out. Sometimes we make mistakes with our makeup. Sometimes we make mistakes at school. Because somewhere, we inside our brains believed that what we were about to do or are doing is correct. And I'm right. That's called believing in your dream. You might just be ahead of your time. You may be thinking of something that is so far in the future, no one else can comprehend it. No one else can understand. Don't allow your mistakes to be crushed. The procedure is quite simple. For solving problems and being mindful, always remember, the past will always be in the past. You can't change the present either. You can't. The present, right now, is going to happen. No matter what. Because it relies on the past as a benchmark. In the past it worked, so we do it again. But in the future, it's totally different. Different types of people, different marks of society, different religions, different schools, different education. Everything will be different in the future. The future's tomorrow, guys. It's just there. You have a chance. When you're looking at processes and procedures and the way you do calculations and the way you put things together and the models that you see, ask yourself one simple question. Does it fit into my future? Will it be any good tomorrow? Have a look at VHS. Do we know what VHS is? It used to be a recording device for television. Its opposition was Betamax. We're going back a few years, guys. Betamax was much better. Betamax had more storage capability on the tape than VHS did at the time of its evolution. But because it was so advanced for its time, people didn't realize. So they started using VHS, and VHS became the standard. Apple Macintosh did the same thing. Yes or no? Yes. Yes? Cool. And you need to keep that in mind. That simple phrase at the bottom. What is the difference between then and now? because you're in the future. Is it still working? If it's not, change it. Change it your way. Don't change it. Don't change it for people my age. If I had my way, I'd be still using the rotor dial on the old handset inside the house. My personal thoughts, handphones, these things are destroying your mind. That's my personal thought. It's disconnecting you. I don't want to talk to you, I'm playing a game. Or I did lectures at the University of Texas in Austin. I did lectures at Monash. And inside my lectures were students. And they were sitting right beside each other. And they were texting the answers to each other. Not talking, hello, how are you? What are you doing afterwards? They were texting this. How disconnected is that? There was no... The funny thing about it was I asked them to bring the handphone down and I brought it up on the screen. I couldn't understand a word of it. There were 8s and smiley faces and devil heads and love hearts and all these weird and wonderful graphics. I asked them to translate it. It's a whole new language. Here I am trying to do a seminar in English and they're talking bits and byte language. It was weird, guys. But that was the future. The next year, when I went back and did exactly the same, I did the lecture in bits and bytes. And everybody understood, except me. Everybody understood what the B, 4, 8, la la la, all these weird and wonderful graphics. BFTK and what's the other, MOC and MOQ and all these weird and wonderful SMS short forms. They understood them all. I didn't understand any of it. But I knew what my lecture was about. You've got to remember that there's going to be two forces that work with you and against you. Those forces are going to happen internally internal forces and external forces. The internal forces means that someone is coveting, someone's trying to steal your idea. They're saying, nah, your idea won't work. Give me the work and I'll go and work on it. And they take it and they steal it. They steal your future. Because you gave up believing in it. 12 months later, the company has come out with a new innovation, new technology. And you're sitting there thinking, hey, I thought of that. That was my idea. They said it wouldn't work. But look, we're all using it. Then you get the external forces. The external forces are people that will copy you. Which society do we blame these days for copying everything? I heard that. You're 100% correct. China. Do you know who started that? It wasn't the Chinese, it was the Japanese. The Japanese tourists. They'd go around and they'd snap pictures. Can you remember, I don't know whether you can or not, when I did this seminar in Texas, I asked the students, do you remember seeing Japanese tourists taking pictures of everything as they walked around? They took pictures of everything. They went back to Japan and they reverse engineered everything. And they come up with fuzzy logic, new changes in washing machines, fridges, freezers, televisions, the whole works. The Japanese led the way. Now the Chinese are doing it. They're doing the same thing. There's a lot more of them too. Be careful of your ideas. Be careful of your dreams. Don't let someone steal them. Your intent. Always. I use why. Why? 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 I use the 5 why principle. I always use it. I ask myself, why do I think this will work? I think it'll work because I proved that it will. Why do I think I proved it? Because I have a methodology here that says so. Why do I think this methodology works? And I keep going through the process until I can prove to myself, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it's real. And I document everything. Archimedes did the same thing. Albert Einstein did the same thing. Some of the greatest leaders from around the world did the same thing. Oh, by the way, has anybody ever heard of Enron? Enron. Anyone? Are there anybody here old enough to remember Enron? Enron was the biggest cheap company in the world. They stole billions of dollars. Billions. Because the founder of Enron believed he could. Which proves beyond a shadow of a doubt. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. There is no doubt, if you believe in your dream, really believe, and you get others to follow you, you will not fail. You will not fail. You will succeed. You will create the next innovation. You will be a leader in the society. You will be a leader, without a shadow of a doubt. Using a narrative to narrate. Tell your story. Don't just write down all the weird and wonderful calculations. Tell the story behind it. Tell the story so that people can understand. Make something real of it. In English, we say nouns are the things. Verbs are the muscle that makes things move. And adjectives are the blood. They bring things to life. They bring things with color. They make people believe. So think about it. Use what I call Imagineering. Imagineering words. Imagineering words are words that are verbs and adjectives. Not adverbs. Alright? Verbs and adjectives. Do we know how to create adverbs, by the way? Quick English lesson. Do we know how to create adverbs? Adverbs are quite easily created. We give a description to a verb. Once we've done that, we have an adverb. Like, I want to be clear, so I speak clearly. I want to be loud, so I speak loudly. We give colour to the actions that we put in to our nouns, into our things, the thing we want to tell people about. Okay guys, I really do want to do this one. I want to find out which mode of speech you use. I need someone to speak in Nepalese for me. Where is... And they've gone. Brother. When you speak in Nepalese, I do not want you to deviate from the word, okay? Do not explain. I just want you to read, listen, and interpret. Can you do that? Because it will be up on the board. All right, ready? In a moment. I use this one because it's the one big secret. It's the one big secret about getting your messages across. And that is this. I want you to write down your answers to these questions. Okay, so take a clean sheet of paper and your pencil. Sorry? I know, but he's going to say it in Nepalese. I'm going to say it in English. Okay? So, because some people right at the back can't see all of that. I'm going to find out whether you're a visual person, whether you're a kinesthetic person. Kinesthetic is a strange word because it's touch and feel. We know what touch is, don't you? Touch. Hard. Soft, cushiony. Feel. Emotions. Love. Hate. Envy. All of these. There's the difference. But we always say, I feel the chair. I feel unhappy. We use the same word to describe two separate things. But we'll have a look at both. Auditory. Auditory is the way someone listens to you. And the last one, which is auditory digital. I wonder how many people will fall up into that category. Let's see. I'm going to ask these questions. Now, the first question is this. All I need you to do, I'm going to ask the question in English. I just need you to say the four choices in Nepalese. As I give you a chance to convert it. Just stand off to the left side. So we can read. Because I know them. Okay? I want you to answer this question. Okay? This is how I want you to do it first though. I want you to give each one a rating. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Okay? Now they are like this. More like me, number 4. Less like me, number 1. Simple, yeah? But I want you to give each one a number. So we'll do the first question together. Alright? The first question is this. I make important decisions based on. My options are this. Gut level feeling.
feelings इम्पोर्टेन्ट डिसिजन लिनुहुन्छ कि भनेर सोधेको है अप्सनमा चाहिँ गट हुन्छ नि एउटा प्रे गरी कसैले केही भन्दाखेरि म चाहिँ अब आर्टले गर्दाखेरि एक्सप्लेन गरिदिन्छु
Don't give away anything, just the words interpret.
Isn't it the same we did in Bucharest?
Yes.
Rating from 5 to
4,
yeah, 5 to
1.
4.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So yeah, चाहिँ के हुन्छ हामीसँग तपाईँहरूको चाहिँ so यो क्वेसनमा चाहिँ के छ भने चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ whenever we make the important decisions हैन अब important decisions भनेपछि नर्मल डे टु डे लाइफमा बनाउने डिसिजन्स हुँदैन हैन यो डिसिजन्स बनाउँदाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईँहरूले चाहिँ के को आधारमा चाहिँ त्यो डिसिजन बनाउनुहुन्छ हैन एन्ड वी हेभ फोर अप्सन्स चाहिँ एउटा गट लेभल फिलिङ्स जुन इन्टरनल्ली नै आउँछ नि आफ्नो आँट अनुसार आफ्नो क्षमता अनुसार डिसिजन मेक गर्नु होइन फर इक्जाम्पल लाइक मलाई 5 करोडको बिजनेस गर्नु छ तर क्षमताले त्यो भ्याउँदैन भनेपछि त आइम रङ इन मेकिङ द्याट डिसिजन होइन त्यही नै अनि नेक्स्ट वान इज विच वे साउन्ड्स द बेस्ट भनेछ अब लाइक साउन्ड्स भन्दाखेरि साउन्ड्स बेस्ट भनेपछि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ हुन्छ है आफूलाई चाहिँ लाग्छ कि त्यो चाहिँ इट्स ओके फर मी भने जस्तो होइन अनि थर्ड वान इज यु आर मेकिङ द डिसिजन्स ओन्ली तपाईँहरूको एङ्गलबाट मात्र वाट लुक्स बेस्ट टु मी जुन चाहिँ मलाई ठिक छ अरूलाई होइन अरूलाई भने चाहिँ अरू फ्याक्टर्सहरूलाई इन्क्लुड नगरिकन आफूलाई मात्र बेस्ट अपन माइसेल्फ तपाईँहरू डिसिजन बनाउनु हुन्छ कि प्रिसाइज रिभ्यू एन्ड स्टडी अफ डिसिजन चाहिँ त्यो एउटा डिसिजन मेकिङ भनेको चाहिँ प्लान एन्ड डिसिजन्स हुने हो नि त होइन सो त्यसमा चाहिँ तपाईँहरू चाहिँ रिभ्यूहरू गर्नुहुन्छ स्टडी गरेर चाहिँ एउटा एनालाइसिस गरेर एन्ड देन एनालाइसिस प्लान एनालाइसिस इभ्यालुएसन गरेर चाहिँ एउटा प्रिसाइज डिसिजन मेक गर्नुहुन्छ होइन सो यु निड टु मेक अ डिसिजन यु निड टु मेक रेट 4 हाइएस्ट 3, 2, 1 हामीसँग 4 अप्सन छ होइन जसमा चाहिँ तपाईँहरूले चाहिँ आफूलाई रेट गर्नु पऱ्यो फर इक्जाम्पल मेरो लागि चाहिँ होला वाट लुक्स बेस्ट टु मी इज 4 होइन एन्ड देन गट लेभल फिलिङ्स इज 3 बुझ्नुभयो नि होइन सबै इन्डिभिजुअललाई डिफ्रेन्ट हुन्छ इट्स नट सेम सो यु निड टु रेट your level of making the decisions. What are the options for best?
The first option is gut level feeling. For me, that is number 4. That is so much like me. Okay? Number 3 for me would be what looks best for me. That's me, not you. So I would give that number 3. Then I would look at, if I can't get a gut feeling or what looks best for me, I will go directly to the precise review and the study. I would look at facts and figures. So that to me would be number 2. And then I would put which way sounds best as last. Number 1. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Put those, so at the top of the page, put Q1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then give it a rating.
बुझ्नुभयो नि त्यो लिस्टिङ गरेको लागि 1, 2, 3, 4 भयो सिम्पल्टेनियसली एन्ड देन त्यो चाहिँ आफ्नो अनुसार चाहिँ डिसिजनमा गरेर चाहिँ कुन रेटमा परेछ साइडमा चाहिँ त्यसको साइड बुझ्यो
We'll do point of view. You know what that means, yeah? Your third option is the logic of the other person's argument. I am influenced by the other person's logic. And option number 4, whether or not I am in touch with the other person's true feelings. These are your 4 options. Do you want to do that in the other form?
बुझ्नुभयो यो सो के छ भनेपछि whenever यो आर्गुमेन्ट भनेपछि चाहिँ डिस्कसन भनौँ न सो whenever there is a discussion सो त्यतिखेर चाहिँ डिस्कसन भएको कुरा चाहिँ एउटा कन्क्लुजन पनि निक्लिन्छ नि त होइन सो त्यो कन्क्लुजन निस्किँदाखेरि चाहिँ यु आर इन्फ्लुएन्स्ड बाई यु आर त्यो आर्गुमेन्टमा चाहिँ तपाईँ इन्फ्लुएन्स्ड हुनुहुन्छ अरे होइन त्यो त्यसमा चाहिँ हामीसँग 4 अप्सन छ in terms of the other person's tone of voice, it might be soft or it might be hard पनि हैन लाइक कोही मान्छे तपाईहरुले राम्रोसँग कुरा गरेर त्यो आर्गुमेन्ट भइराछ भनेपछि त्यसको बेसिसमा तपाईहरुले आफ्नो त्यो आर्गुमेन्टको कन्क्लुजन गर्नुहुन्छ कि या उले हार्ड तरिकाले अलिकति हार्ड तरिकाले कुरा गरिरहेछ भने त्यसको बेसिसमा तपाईले चाहिँ त्यो आर्गुमेन्टलाई चाहिँ एउटा इभ्यालुएसन दिएर चाहिँ एउटा कुनै कन्क्लुजन गर्नुहुन्छ कि हैन नेक्स्ट अप्सन इज whether or not I can see the other person's point of view. It depends, right? Whether or not whether or not I can see the other person's point of view. अरूले के भनिरहेछ किनभने when we are arguing त्यहाँ अर्को पार्टिज पनि हुन्छ नि त with whom we are discussing हैन सो उनीहरुको point of view लाई चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ सुन्छौं या सुन्दैनौं कहिलेकाहीँ हुन्छ नि कति कुरा चाहिँ इग्नोर गरेर हुन्छ कति कुरा चाहिँ या एक्सेप्ट गरेर हुन्छ हैन सो त्यो बेसिसमा तपाईले त्यो इन्फ्लुएन्स हुनुहुन्छ या हुँदैन भन्छ एन्ड द थर्ड इज द लजिक अफ द अदर्स पर्सन्स आर्गुमेन्ट हुँदाखेरि के हुन्छ त्यहाँ लजिक हुन्छ के अरे टोन अफ भोइसहरुको कुराहरु आउँछ हैन सो लजिकमा चाहिँ तपाईले चाहिँ माइट बी तपाईलाई चाहिँ त्यसले चाहिँ इन्फ्लुएन्स गर्न सक्छ कस्तो राम्रो लजिक दिएको भन्न पनि सक्नु होला तपाईले त्यो लजिक दिएको चाहिँ तपाईलाई मन नपरे पनि हुन्छ है तर इन्फ्लुएन्स चाहिँ हुनुहुन्छ तपाईहरु चाहिँ आर्गुमेन्ट भएको भएर argument friends so whether or not I am in touch with other person true feelings भनेछ त्यसले मान्छेले साँचो भनिरहेछ तपाई चाहिँ त्यो इन्फ्लुएन्स त्यसको बेसिसमा चाहिँ तपाई इन्फ्लुएन्स हुनुहुन्छ या हुनुहुँदैन भनेछ so same like the previous one you need to rate yourself in terms of four of these options
Do exactly the same thing again.
yeah
More like me, number 4. Then 3, then 2, then 1.
It's okay, let it be भन्ने पनि हुन्छ argument so rate it same like previous one
Fast memories. They can remember facts and figures really fast. And they can repeat them back extremely quickly and not having to do too much. In actual fact, when you sit exams, you don't do what the rest of us do. We study all the time. You guys, right before the exam, flick through all your books, sit the exam and pass with flying colours. That's what a true audio person can do. Who got a high score for V? Yeah. Brother, don't put your hand up anymore, okay? Because I'm worried about you. I think I'm going to need a straitjacket for you. Considering you got 20/20/20/20. It's not eyesight. Okay, you don't need 20/20 vision. This is the mental aptitude, the way. Unless you're a super genius. Guys, can I have your attention? Can you stand up for me? I want someone that knows this boy. Who knows this boy? Put your hand up. Tell me this. Sit down. Keep your hand up. I want to know who you are. Is he a genius? Is he the next Albert Einstein? Is he? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. She says yes.
You said yes. Oh, you like him, don't you? Wow. No, that was very bad of me, wasn't it? Picking on her like that. No, he is. He's going to be the next genius. He got 20/20/20/20.
Yes.
That makes him the next genius. Or a bloody cheat, one or the other. I'm not quite sure which one. Good luck, brother. Okay. Apart from Albert sitting in the back there, Albert Einstein is, tell me, who got a high score for visual? Who got my visual? Okay. My visual people. You are the sort of person that is very difficult to distract. Your scores might not be 100, 100, 100, 100, but you're able to study and nobody can distract you. people, guys, visual people like this boy up here, I'm telling you now, it's very difficult to interrupt them when they speak. When they speak, everybody listens. That's what visual people are like. Why? Because they can create pictures out of words. They can make people understand easily. Good man. They don't have to be super geniuses. I want, who got high score for the letter K? Kinesthetic. Why do I find this quite difficult to? Kinesthetic people are very highly intelligent people, but they're bloody boring. Sorry guys, they are very boring. They are all facts and figures. No? They're very hard to have fun with. They don't like to break the rules either. Can you tell me, are you boring? Is she boring? No. What? Yes. But you like it. It's nice to have boring friends. It makes you look like fun. Yeah? Alright. What was the last one? Audio digital. Who are my audio digital people? Wow, you're an interesting bunch. Okay. Audio digital people are the sort of people that need to know everything, and they'll go out of their way to find it. Audio digital people are extremely creative, but they're hard to control. They are the most mischievous of people, but often get others into trouble, not themselves. That's what audio digital people are like. Okay, so who are my audio digital people now? Who wants to admit that? Oh, no, not me, I'm not like that. Yes, audio digital people. Are you audio digital? Are you? Wow, how honest is that, eh? You come up with some really creative ways to do things. Extremely intelligent. The one good thing I know about audio digital people is that they'll pick up language, just like that. French, German, Latin, Arabic, English, it does not matter. If you want to study languages, do it now. Audio digital people love language because that's how they change people's minds. Learn languages. I tell you the ones you want to learn. Okay, you ready? Learn Chinese. Learn English. Learn Arabic. These are the three base languages. And the last one, learn Latin. It's one of the most difficult languages in the world to learn. But did you know that every language on the face of the earth is based on Latin? Every language, including Sanskrit, which is Tamil. But what's the language based on? Sanskrit. Yeah. All of it is based on Latin. The same as English, the same as German, French, Chinese. It does not matter what. Learn these languages. You will be the best interpreter, the best speaker, no matter where you go. So there you go, guys. You have to be one or the other. You can't be all four. Unless, of course, you're insane. Are you psychopathic? Sociopathic? Any one of those? Do we need to watch this boy? We do? There's only one of two things that could have happened. One, he made slight errors in giving answers, which means he wasn't paying attention. It's very far, isn't it? So you had to rely on words. Or two, he's a super bloody. You're smarter than anybody on the face of the earth. And you're going to scare us all. Because I'm telling you now, do you know the one thing that is common with super geniuses? They're all sociopaths. They do not care a dime for society. They only care for what they will achieve. So, the creation of the splitting of the atom turned into an atomic bomb. And the man that did that did not care. He was only interested in what splitting the atom could do. So he was a super genius. Anyway, guys, we've come to an end. Yes? She's saying to herself, I want to go. I want to go. You talk too much. I understand. It's okay. Guys, I've got one little last piece of information. One little thing I want to share. Okay? And it comes from my heart. I lived my dream. Now it's your turn to live yours. Okay? It's your turn. It's your turn to live your dream. Find out what that dream is and don't ever let it go. Don't ever let it go. I did until later in my life. I let my dream go and I was lost. My grandfather worked as a porter in a hotel. My father was a politician and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I travelled the world. Oh, what a fun, but no direction. Grab hold of your dream and don't ever let it go. Do that now. Thank you very much.
Because of I see that this is that not only that mind-to-mind management, I see that knowledge management. Because of you give too much knowledge to the student, how to tackle the decision, how to take the decision in the future, how to make that decision and that capacity. How everyone has the knowledge, but they don't know how to manage the knowledge. And then this training is I think this is the new kind of a training to the student. Student, it is very, very fruitful. And then from on behalf of the Nepal Police School, I would like to give thanks to the research and this team and the men and the in fact to the AIMT Training Solutions. Thank you.
I want everybody standing up.
Invite any of the students जसलाई चाहिँ के अब लाइक हुन्छ नि आजको ट्रेनिङ एटेन्ड गरेर चाहिँ तपाईहरुको लेभल अफ अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङमा चाहिँ तपाईहरुले जति एक्सपेक्ट गरेर आउनु भएको थियो हैन त्यति भयो कि नै हैन सो आई वुड लाइक टु म डाइरेक्टली चुज गर्दिन आई वुड लाइक टु रिक्वेस्ट one of the students to come up to stage and to have some words like the experience कस्तो भयो आजको ट्रेनिङमा चाहिँ to share the experience of today's training आज के भयो तपाईहरुलाई कस्तो लाग्यो भने चाहिँ एकजना स्टुडेन्ट चाहिँ प्लिज कम अप टु स्टेज अनि आफ्नो केही दुई चार शब्दहरु चाहिँ राख्नको लागि चाहिँ अनुरोध गर्न चाहन्छु
Thank you very much, ma'am. And thank you very much to Dr. Richard came here from Australia to give some knowledge to develop our mind and to use our mind in a right way and right manner. I was supposing that he was one of the greatest ideology person who gave us much more idea. He also teach us to be a better and best person in the future. He gave us the example of Albert Einstein. I think he is giving us to I think he is giving idea and making us more grateful to be such a great person like Albert Einstein. So thank you very much, sir. And I hope you will be. I think you will be one of the person who made us very much proud and give much more knowledge. And you will be one of the part of my life. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for those words. Thank you.
Your turn now.
Hi, sir.
So I would like to thank you so much to Richard by giving this token of appreciation and token of love from my company side. So thank you so much.
Nice. Yes.
Thank you so much. Verbally, we would like to extend our gratitude by giving this token of appreciation. So now I would like to call a representative from Nepal Police School to come up with here to accept them.
Nicely done.
That we as a young and सबैजना youthहरुमा चाहिँ we have more creativity, we are more creative person भन्छु हैन अझै बेसी अनि हामीमा चाहिँ like we are more अझै बेसी चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ इनोभेसनमा चाहिँ अझै धेरै चाहिँ we are more active on that part हैन so I always believe र मैले जहिले पनि भन्दाखेरि मात्र हैन कि इम्प्लिमेन्टेसनमा पनि गर्दा चाहिँ I always support youth हैन आफू पनि एउटा young entrepreneur भएर चाहिँ मलाई चाहिँ youthहरुसँग चाहिँ अझै बेसी चाहिँ टाइम स्पेन्ड गर्न पनि मन लाग्छ हैन so today it's a pleasure भन्छु म आफूलाई पनि a very young entrepreneur here right now I would like to call Mr. Usab Dhakal to come up to the stage. So we have one more token of appreciation. I would like to call one of the representatives from Nightingale Academy Secondary School to come up to the stage and to accept the token of appreciation. भन्ने हुनुहुन्छ आज हामीसँग रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ पनि हुनुहुन्छ होइन एन्ड द टोटल अफ द एप्रिसिएसन इज डाउनस्टेयर्स हाम्रो सबै त्यही छ होइन bringing in aware and we will appreciate them. So, मेरो consultancy is one of the consultancies who will say like ma'am, woman entrepreneur हुनुहुन्छ होइन, she is the managing director over here, but she has been unable to come and attend this program. उहाँले मलाई मेरो करियरमा पनि एउटा एडभाइस दिनेदेखि लिएर चाहिँ करियरमा धेरै नै अपग्रेड गर्नु पनि भएको छ, सपोर्ट गर्नु भएको छ होइन. So मेरो consultancy located very near to the Sangam Street. यहाँ Baneshwar located गर्छ. So in future, if you would like to know anything related to the abroad study case, you can always visit there. तपाईँहरूले डायरी पनि पाइसक्नु भएको छ. You can show the number. तपाईँहरूको कोही relatives या कोही family members abroad study को लागि सोचिराख्नु भएको छ भने it's a very good place. एकचोटि गएर पनि तपाईँहरू visit गरेर पनि देख्न सक्नुहुन्छ होइन. So I would like to thank you so much. As well as I would like to call this fast ride to come to the stage, and I would like to thank you so much.
Thank you everyone. I'll take the podium for sure for that.
Once again, thank you everyone for making it to your presence with us over here. It really feels amazing. It really feels amazing when we promote something that is very good. And I am very happy with the work that we started today with the team of AIMT proving themselves, and I am pretty sure they lived up to your expectation. And making time for an event like this is definitely very, very fruitful. I really felt really wonderful. Thank you so much, Rizatsa, from the deep core for making your time and for giving us a wonderful session. I'm pretty sure अब भावी दिनहरुमा अब आउने दिनहरुमा तपाईहरु नै हो फ्युचरहरु. सो आज सिक्नु भएको कुराहरु मोटिभेट जति तपाईलाई गरेको छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ लाइफमा चाहिँ इम्प्लिमेन्ट गर्नु होला. I can see small sisters out there. I request your people to grab out all the things, use it for your betterness, and then अबको दिनमा चाहिँ try to be a trendsetter, try to be a change maker that AIMT believes, I'm for sure, and that is what Mero Consultancy believes. Mero Consultancy, regarding Mero Consultancy, it's an educational consultancy that is working for the betterness of the students who aspire to go for abroad studies. We have been working since 2012, and we hope to come up with more of the plans, more of wonderful options and opportunities for all the students and everyone. And that's what I would like to say once again to the entire team of AIMT. Hats off to you all and congratulations for such a wonderful event. And I just make it sure that in days to come, that AIMT is going to be more active and more wonderful with all the events and ventures they come up with. And more than that, we'll be more than happy to be associated with any of the organizations or any of the platform that forage or that take out what an individual or what a student has to. So at last, I would like to say one thing. Thank you so much everyone for making your presence. Thank you so much, Richard sir. Once again, thank you so much, Alesha. And once again, thank you so much, my dear friend Vikalpa Shrestha, Mr. Nepal 2018, who is here just to support this event. This feels really amazing. And it's all about the hard work, it's all about the dedication, and I'm pretty sure all the students out there, जतिजना हुनुहुन्छ यहाँ आउने दिनमा तपाईहरु पनि यस्तै एन्टरप्रेन्योर भएर युवा उद्यमी भएर निस्किनु हुनेछ र धेरै भन्दा धेरै परिवर्तनका कामहरु गर्नु हुनेछ. धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. Thank you so much.